Hey guys, new video. Yesterday they revealed a new Draitrons archetype, and at first I was like really excited because all of them are special summons, which is very good for the game because usually competitive decks don't have that many normal summons. But as I started reading the cards better, I realized that the deck wasn't that great, so I'm going to show you the basic strategy so you can decide for yourself. First, we're going to activate the field spell. What the field spell does is basically allow us to add one Drytron spell or trap from our deck to our hand, which is basically just going to be these copies of emergency teleport. This card basically allows us to special summon one Drytron from our deck from to our side of the field. Then we have this riddle spell, which is basically a riddle spell for the archetype. Then we have Eclipse, which is basically just water returning alive. Then we have Draitrons Asterisk, which is basically Gemini Spark. And finally we have the Counter Trap card, which is basically X-Saber Hole. It's pretty similar to X-Saber Hole, right? That's pretty much it. I wouldn't recommend you to run this card. The only reason is because it's searchable, so I have it at 1 in this list, but I'm going to show you. First, we lead with a copy of the field spell to add our copy of emergency teleport, which is Draitrons Nova. We're going to activate Draitrons Nova. We are going to special summon these guys, which is basically Ban Alpha. What this guy does is basically when it is a special summon, it is going to allow us to add one ritual monster from our deck to our hand. The only problem is that it can only be special summoned if you tribute one Drytron or ritual monster from your hand or side of the field. So it's obviously going to take some kind of setup. So it really doesn't matter in this situation because we have Drytron L Gamma and Drytron Al-Zeta in our hand. Basically what we can do with this is send this guy to the grave to special summon this guy, and then we're going to get the effect, and we're going to tribute this guy to summon this guy and get the effect as well. It's basically just a chain, as you're going to see. Then we're going to summon Al-Zeta, and we're going to add a ritual spell. Then we're going to summon El Gamma, which is going to allow us to recover Al-Zeta. And from this point on, these guys can also be special summoned from the graveyard, so we can tribute this copy of Al-Zeta to special summon Ban Alpha. And then we're going to add a ritual monster from our deck to our hand. Then we're going to activate the ritual spell, and we're going to tribute both monsters to special summon this guy. The thing with the ritual spell is that it's going to allow us to summon this guy with only 2 monsters, 2 level 1 monsters, so that's super fine. Then the field spell has a secondary effect which allows us to reduce the level of the monster, but it's not really useful in the pure version. I would assume it's better for mixed versions. And then the ritual spell can be recovered from the graveyard by reducing the attack of one of your monsters by 1000 attack points. So we're going to recover it, and that's pretty much it. Then we're going to set the counter trap, and we're going to pass turn. Here we have a total of 2 interruptions because we can banish 2 of these guys, and then we can destroy 2 of our opponent's cards in their turn. And we have the counter trap card and the Ash Blossom, so it's 4 interruptions. It's quite okay. The problem is that it's super fragile. If my opponent had like an Ash Blossom, an Effect Veiler, a DD Grow, basically any hand trap, he would have stopped my setup, and this deck is not unfair like the combo decks. At first I tried to play like a combo heavy version of the deck, but it didn't work out because you can only special summon monsters that cannot be normal summons, so if you use the Deathbots or anything, you are not going to be able to summon the Drytrons. So now I'm going to show you another way to do the combo, which is basically this combo, this version. Now I'm going to show you another way to do the combo, because this deck is consistent. The problem is that it's super fragile. So what we're going to do is summon Mathematician. Well, we're going to lead with Extravagance. Then we're going to go for our field spell. Our field spell is going to search the teleport. Well, in this case I decided to search the counter trap card because I already have access to the 3 Drytrons. We're going to mill 1. in this case we are going to mill the Al-Zeta, which is the one that allows us to add a reroll spell from our deck to our hand, and then we're going to special summon it by discarding the Ben Alpha, and we're going to add like our reroll spell. Then we're going to mill our El Gamma. We're going to summon El Gamma by sending the other guy to the graveyard, and El Gamma is going to allow us to recover Al-Zeta to the field. Then we're going to send Al-Zeta to the graveyard to special summon the Ben Alpha, right? So in this scenario we are already set up again. We are going to tribute both guys to reroll summon this guy, and then we're going to recover the real spell, and I'm going to set the counter. Pretty much the same thing. I mean, this deck is super consistent. The problem with this deck is that it's super fragile. So now I'm going to show you the build. Now I'm going to show you my build. This build is super basic. It's just made to showcase the strategy as it comes out of the box. I'm sure people is going to learn the deck a bit more and is going to find other cards that synergize well with the deck, but I just wanted a simple deck list that allows us to showcase what the strategy is meant to do. Right, so first up, Three Mathematicians, because it's copies of any other Drytron, so it's super fine. Then Trash Blossom, because it's whatever, I mean, you can play any other card you want, but it's just to showcase that it's not engine. Then we have 3 Ban Alpha. Ban Alpha is the one that allows us to add 1 reroll monster from our deck to our hand. Then just 1 copy of Draitron Ras-Beta, because I'm fairly certain this card is not worth playing, because the only thing it does is return 1 banished Draitrons monster from our banished pile to the graveyard, and I don't think that's kind of situational. I mean, it could be important in the green game, but I don't know. I wouldn't blame anyone for not playing this card. Then to Drytron El Gamma, I'm actually fairly certain this should be bumped to 3, because what it does is basically complete the combo by cheating 1 out of the Ban Alpha or the Al-Zeta from the graveyard for the real summon. Then we have 1 Lta-Delta, which basically allows us to draw 1 card. I mean, we special summon it, then we reveal a reroll spell or a reroll monster and draw a card for free, which is really good. But I don't think it's needed at 3 because it's not part of the combo. It's basically just rewarding you for opening more Drytrons, which I think is okay, but nothing too impressive. Then Al-Zeta, which is basically the same thing as Ban Alpha but with reroll spell. It's important to run all 3 because we don't want to run too many bricks, and we're just going to run 1 Meteornis Draitron. Then 2 Draitron Meteornis DRA. I'm fairly certain this card can be a one-off. The only reason I have it at 2 is because if you open 1, you can likely set up a double drop of these guys. So that's fine. I mean, it's not going to make you a lot of good, but it's fine. Then 3 Pot of Extravagance. Why? Because we don't use the extra deck a lot. The main reason for that is because the Drytron cards are super xenophobic. I mean, in theory, you can summon cards from your extra deck. The problem, and the main problem with this, is that you cannot have any engine that special summons a main deck monster that can be normal summon. Like, for example, if we activate Despot 003 to special summon Despot 001, we cannot special summon Drytron monsters during that turn, which is super harsh and super awful for the deck. So 3 Extravagance is going to reward us better. Then 3 Cyber Emergency, because it can search all of the Drytrons. Then Terraforming, because it can search a field spell, which in turn can search like the Drytron spells. Then 1 Foolish Burial, because it's basically another copy of Reinforcement of the army. Then 3 Drytron Nova. Then just 1 Drytron Eclipse, 1 Meteornis Drytron, and 1 Drytron Asterisks. I basically left these cards alongside the counter trap card at 1 because I can search them and they have certain utility. I'm almost certain that not all of them are going to see play, and the ones that do are basically just going to be one-offs because they are basically bricks that rely on the ritual being on the field. And while the deck can put the ritual quite consistently on the field, yeah, you don't want to top deck those cards, or they are cards that you would rather not see that often. So that's pretty much for the Drytron cards. Just for my closing thoughts, guys, I don't think this deck is going to be meta. With just these cards, Konami might release new crazy cards in the next set after Phantom Rising, so we don't know. But just by looking at this, I don't think so. And the main reason is because in the OCG, these cards are super weak to Maxi, and in the TCG side, they are super weak to any hand trap, like an Effect Veiler, an Ash Blossom, an Impermanence, a Ghost Aura, basically anything can end my turn super quickly, so you are going to need like Call by the Grave and stuff, and that's going to be an issue. So my personal recommendation is to not buy hype. This deck doesn't have the tools needed to be meta as of right now, but if you enjoy this kind of thing, maybe you can grab them up as collectibles and hope Konami supports the deck in a way it's more playable in the future. So that's pretty much for today, guys. I'm going to keep playing the deck for a while, just as Prankits. The new Prankits video is already done, so I should be uploading it later this week. But maybe on the next time I showcase this deck, I can show you something that is much better. But as it stands right now, the strategy is super simple, but it's super fragile. So see you on the next time.